Well, now to the health care law and fighting words from the White House. Press Secretary Jay Carney moments ago shooting down the claim this week from the man he replaced, Robert Gibbs, that Obamacare's employer mandate will never go into effect. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry live at the White House. All right, there's been a lot of days, Ed, that Jay Carney probably wished he didn't have to stand at that podium. Today might be one of them, because what's behind the claims and the swift response from the White House?
You're right, Gretchen, because now you've got the president and his press secretary on defense over health care, not from Republican leaders on the Hill and their critics, but from one of their own advisors. In fact, Jay Carney's predecessor at the podium, Robert Gibbs. Remember, the employer mandate has been delayed twice already unilaterally by the administration. Now Robert Gibbs gives a speech in Colorado and says, quote, "I don't think the employer mandate will go into effect. It's a small part of the law. I think it will be one of the first things to go." Obviously, the idea that there's going to need to be more major changes to this law sort of dances on the victory lap the president had just a couple of days ago about signups. That's why Jay Carney a moment ago tried to shut the door on this idea. Listen.
The final rules put out in February made clear this will be phased in starting next year. I know, having spent time on the at the pundits table prior to my life here, you can make predictions all the time that turn out not to be true.
Now, of course, the White House has repeatedly tried to shut the door on more changes coming, only to change the law yet again more than a couple of dozen times. So they're saying that right now they're not changing it definitively, at least for now. Gretchen.
Right. So are there actually some Republicans who would welcome abandoning that employer mandate?
Well, sure. There are some Republicans who have been complaining about the employer mandate for a long time, saying that this is a burden on employers and they're passing on the cost to their employees. Here's Douglas Holtz-Aiken, a Republican economist.
The things they were doing were making their employees pay more of the costs, giving them less generous insurance, hiring fewer people, or getting out of the business of providing health insurance. And none of those are good news for the average American.
And what Republicans have been really saying for a long time is, look, if you're going to keep delaying or outright repeal the employer mandate, you should do the same for the individual mandate, which is much bigger, affects a lot more people, so you can be fair across the board. But, of course, again, the White House is now saying Robert Gibbs is wrong. We're not going to repeal it. We'll see, Gretchen.
All right. The story keeps going on and on. Ed, thanks much.